this computer. We might find out some stuff that is really useful for other people to hear. What turns me on about holding space and to pass on and find out with you how it goes is that you have a piece of the bigger puzzle. You have something about creating a more sustainable culture. You have that piece, and you are a powerful space holder. And modern culture doesn't nurture that. There's space holding in modern culture is a hierarchical construct. So when we learn in school that you go to a space, like you go into school, and then there's a teacher that tells you how it goes. So your center goes whoop to the teacher. And for you to create a different culture and co-creating a different culture, you need to have your center and being a space holder wherever you go for yourself. And what I mean, yeah, so we're getting to this, what is it actually to hold space? Again, so there's a physical space that you sit in. Can you describe some characteristics of the physical space that you sit in? What do you notice? Like just from the physics. So I'm in this office space. It's not my space, but it's got this window and it's got a computer in front of me and there's some posters on the wall. There's a door that has not, it's just a door frame. There's no door in it. I'm sitting on a chair. There's a desk. What is in your space? Physical space. What do you notice?
For me, there's a hall with a couch and I can hear the traffic outside, so that's also in my space, and the kitchen door, and like I'm looking onto like the neighbor's wall in front of me with windows and lots of light quality and some colors in the furnishings, the happy colors.
Thank you.
I'm sitting in the office and I have an awesome view of some chickens and all the trees and the lake. And I'm sitting on an awesome as old school chair. Yeah.
Old school chair. Thank you.
I am in the dark with the headlamp on my head to write down. There's a laptop in front of me. And there's some noise because there's actually the electricity is back. Okay, so I'm gonna go get my charger and come back so I can set myself logistically and really land in this space.
Right.
Right back.
Go. What do you notice in your spaces, Millie and Sasha? If you
I can talk to you about my space. I'm bouncing between one bench and another in my kitchen, and looking at the dishes, and I've got the nice backyard, little concrete backyard, and I see the blue sky and the fluffy white clouds out there with some sunshine on them. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm already thinking about where I'm going to be sitting when in the next 5 minutes I'll get this done. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm in a lounge room with some light and cushions and people coming in and out, but not anymore. And there's a big TV beside me and a Heineken glass.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I find that somehow I feel joy because I can relate to where you're at more. Elena, will you say something about your space too?
Yes, sure. I'm sitting here on the floor of my flat and I have plants around me. And on the right, I have a lot of boxes packed. And I see a beautiful picture on the wall from an African woman. And the windows are high and there's blue sky, morning sky. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so that gives me more, I don't know, it makes it more personal. It's like, okay, I have a bigger sense now than just the little image on the screen that I see. And yet there's a different, like, we can look at the physical space, but there's another space, and that is the energetic space. So what I'm talking about when holding space, I mean, then I'm not talking about the physical space so much. You can look after the physical space by cleaning up, by tidying up, by dusting the bookshelf or whatever you do in a physical space to have it sort of functional and optimally working for you. What I'm referring to is this energetic space, and what makes an energetic space is the quality of the space that you can't really touch. It's maybe the speed of how you speak, or how I speak now, the speed, or the purpose of it. Like, what the purpose of this space is for me is like, I've called in bright principles, I've called in empowerment and clarity and possibility and archetypal love to inform this space and to work through the space so that we can find out more and create something together, find out more on this journey together. So the purpose, the intention of a space determines the energetic space. Also, there's something like drala, like the way that the field can work in a physical space, and an energetic space can be like, who defines what an energetic space is? How is an energetic space defined? Have you had experience with that?
I guess you don't normally name it, but like, you know, you can sort of sense like the vibe or like the atmosphere within a place. Like whether you go into a library or a pub, it'll be very different. Like based on the intention and the purpose of the space and the energy of the people, and yeah, all the different energy inputs that are coming together in the physical materials, and the way that, you know, the managers or the directors, whoever's holding the space, looking after the space, is what intention they're bringing, and then the people that come into the space to use it.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Like a pub, for example, serves a certain purpose. What's the purpose of a pub?
Socializing,
Drinking,
yeah.
Drinking,
meeting point,
entertainment, maybe.
Yeah.
Big TV screen with rugby matches or cricket matches or whatever going on. And drinking alcohol, socializing. Yeah. So you wouldn't expect to go into a pub and, I don't know, dance ballet, but out of the space, which could be interesting as an experiment. But so yeah, and who defines, like, you can, like, if you're in a restaurant, for example, or even in a pub, if you're there, like there's the space, the pub space, and then there's a space between two people having a conversation, for example. So that is a space, an energetic space in a larger physical space. And in a way, those two people having the conversation are holding space for the conversation, so that you might, welcome back, Reggie, good to see you. So that you might, yeah, those two people hold space so that you might get so lost in the conversation that you don't even notice there are other people around. Have you ever had that experience in a restaurant or a pub or anywhere in a public space? So energetically, you're putting your attention onto a certain energetic field, and that is holding space. And there's something about, it takes consciousness, it takes awareness to do that. And oftentimes it happens unconsciously, but you can create those spaces consciously. And the more you do that, the more powerful those spaces become for you. So space holding really starts with you having your own space, like connecting to your own space. What we did to start is the centering, grounding, being bubbled. That's like the first position to even start thinking about or considering holding space, like holding it for yourself. Because you need to hold space consciously, a conscious space, you need all your resources. So that's something, I mean, what's your motivation to hold space? Like, what's your motivation to be here? What is it that brings you here? What are you curious about? Just open if you have something.
What brings us here? Is that what you said?
Yeah, what brings you here? Which necessity in space holding, or which curiosity in space holding?
I guess for me, I want to be like more, yeah, I just want to be better at holding space and being in my center and communicating my message. Yeah, it's like the quality of connectedness that I bring from myself to a group of people. Yeah, and being able to stay in connection and not disappear because of fear or that comes up in my subconscious body. That's one aspect of it.
Thank you.
For me, I think it's to find out a bit what I. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So for me, it's to find out a bit more what I want to hold space for. I know I stand a lot for connection and intimacy because I feel a lot of pain when I'm in a space where I feel like a lot of disconnection and unconscious communications, and I want to discover more how this is possible. I hope you can hear me actually.
Yeah, hear you. Can you hear us? Looks like you can't hear us, but I hear you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so you want to find out more what you want to hold space for. Maybe the connection is a bit lagging at the moment. Anybody else that wants to share their interest in space holding?
I wanted to come. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I wanted to come here because I want to be able to connect with people more and actually, I don't know, not sort of get lost doing 1,000 other things when I'm trying to listen a little bit to people and have more of a connection to the person themselves and like what they're going through rather than worrying about what I'm going through. So I thought this would be quite cool when Yulia said about it. So that's why I'm here.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Elena, how about you?
Yeah. I would like to learn to be more in my center while being connected to others in groups, particular because I'm working with groups and I'm I'm having the experience to give my center away very easily. So this is something, and also learning how to hold space for myself in my emotional exploring, to get to know myself better and really seeing the different levels of clarity in myself.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can find myself having a shared reality with what you just said, and some of my attraction to being here today is because yeah, I'm on a journey with holding space for myself more clearly, and be maintaining my empathy, and yes, and it's also holding space for others, and not necessarily in a group setting, but it can be, but very much on an energetic level for me. Yeah, and as a parent, I'm here as a parent too. I have 2 teenagers, and that requires a lot of holding space. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so yeah, I'm glad you're here with these questions and these purposes. They really touch upon the core of it, that it's a practice, it's a continuous practice and training to really stay centered. And there's yeah, I mean, there's something you can do about that. You can train that for yourself. You can practice that, so that no matter where you go, like, you decide you're not giving your center to any person that holds space. You're keeping your center. Even right now, you can do that. Like, do not give me your center, keep it. Because the thing is, no one can take your center away from you. You can offer that to someone and then they can take it, but they can't take it from you if you don't offer it. So that is really your space holding capacity starts there. And what I've noticed, especially recently, is that, you know, in order to hold my center really all the time, it's I need my anger accessible, like low intensity of anger, but this, here I am, this quality of boom, here I am. Like it's this holding space for myself. That's the anger quality. Have you all heard of the new map of anger? I know, Elena, you've signed up for the Rage Club.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've learned that anger is bad, but anger has actually a quality of space guardian. So that you can sort of hold your sword for yourself. Say, okay, this is my center, and I have questions, and I want something out of this space, and like I have questions, or I have an impulse. I follow that, and I don't ask for permission. I bring it in, and then I receive feedback, and then I see how it goes from there. So to be centered, to stay centered, you can do Rage Club if you haven't done it, and practice like at least 3 times a day, for example, to center yourself, just like we did to start. At least like set yourself an alarm and center yourself 3 times a day. Or there's an experiment to whenever you walk through a gate, through a doorway, you can center yourself as a reminder to stay centered. And then from that to that next thing is also really great that you're here with that, Ruggie, is this, what do you want? What is it that you're actually holding space for? Like, no one can tell you that. Like, what's in the way of you knowing is super interesting. What's in the way of knowing that? And it's, I get it. I've noticed how really the school system and the whole hierarchical system that, I mean, might have even been active in your family, in your initial family with parents that were the authority figures and had this hierarchical approach, that we don't learn in modern culture to be space holders at all times. So as soon as I walk into a space, if I'm not actively consciously holding my own space, then I'm a consumer and waiting for something to be delivered. And if it's not delivered, I can have resentment and be angry at them not giving me what I want. And it's this, it drags. Yeah, it's dragging my own space actually down. And what I'm doing right now is actually using my fear, because how it goes when I'm not in a scholarly system, in a school system, like I haven't written down a curriculum. I'm using my fear to stand at the edge and look at what is necessary next. And as I said earlier, it's like, come forward. What's necessary next? What is it that serves this space, and where can this space go? And I'd like to do an experiment with you right now, which is to shift from that. We've looked at the physical space, and now start noticing the energetic space that you're in. And now let's stay in this group together. So you've got your center, you can reclaim your grounding cord by declaring it again, and your bubble. And then with all your energetic tentacle senses, you sense what is in this, what do you notice in the space? What is this, the quality of this energetic space right now? What do you notice?
Tiredness.
Tiredness.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sleepiness.
Yeah.
Sleepiness.
Curiosity.
Curiosity. What else?
Are you referring to the space between us in the call, or outside in my own reality?
Yeah, distinguish and say which one you're talking about. So in the space, yeah, you might notice different spaces, and you are energetically maybe in two different spaces. So my curiosity is about this energetic space that we're sharing. And if you notice something that's in the other space, just name it so that it's clear which space you're talking about.
So in the space between us, I sense some waiting for something to happen from your side.
Mm-hmm.
I sense like fear of like, yeah, not knowing, yeah, like maybe like what to ask for, or like what to want from myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. I feel the same. I just noticed it's this fear of like, what is in me? What can I bring in? Like this kind of question is arising. And I feel the difference of, on one hand, I feel very clarity when I look at you all. And in myself, in my space, I feel a kind of nervousness arising. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like there's this like fuzzy wall. It's like I know I want something from this space or from my space holding, but I'm not actually sure of like what to ask for, or like what's not working in my system about it. Yeah, I just have this sense that, I mean, like maybe it's my gremlin wanting it to be better, like my space holding this expectation, but also like this sense that like I'm not where I could be or want to be at my full potential. Yeah, so there's this sort of question of like, what is it? What's like the next step?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anything else? Millie, you were going to say something?
I noticed like a lot of curiosity in the space, and it feels like there's lots of doorways being presented. And I wondered what that word drala is. What does that mean? Is that about the energetic space, or is that to do with the physical space?
That's about the energetic space. So
what was the word? And what did it
drala,
mean?
D-R-A-L-A. It's a Sanskrit word.
What does it mean?
It's the quality. It's like the quality of the space, like the clarity of the space, that the quality of that energetic space. So the clean, clear. So the drala is like a morphogenetic field quality of, and that might not be a word that you know of. I find it hard to explain, but it's this, the space determines what's possible. And if you look after the drala, you can make sure that the energetic space is clean and clear, and then there's not these obstacles. It's like on a physical level, it would be having all these, I don't know, dust everywhere and stuff lying around, and then it's like the drala can't, it's obstructing the flow. Yeah, so I have the sense that I want to have a little bit of activating anger with you, so that we can go to the next from there. So if you can stand up, it's not going to be super loud. Just stand up and ground your feet. You might want to put them hip wide, and then don't hurt yourself or anybody else, but like you can make fists, and you let yourself be angry for no reason. And if you need a reason, you can also have a reason, it doesn't matter. But you let this anger energy go from the fists, yeah, and start from the fists into your arms, into your upper body, and down into your center. You might want to, it's like in a haka, in this Maori warrior stance. Might feel the heat coming up. I can feel some heat coming up. And then from that place, start saying what you want. I want, and just say it. No filtering.
I want more clarity in the space.
Stand tall.
Yeah, go. More clarity.
I want to be in my power.
Yes.
Yes, go.
I want to ask more dangerous questions.
I want clarity to be myself.
Yes.
I want the internet to work.
Yes, go.
I want to be solid.
I want the fridge to stop making that sound.
Yes, go.
I want space.
I want to be here. Fully here.
Okay, so use that energy and stop, and use that energy to really land in your center. Go in your center. And from there, straight to the ground. And it's this anchor for you. It's like, okay, you know now what you want. You said it. I heard you say it. And I'm inviting you to carry that throughout the next hour and 20 minutes. This is what you want. And you might change your mind. You might find out something else that you want. So bring that. Start by holding space for yourself in this space. Okay, and you may want to, yeah, feel free to sit back down.
I had the thought come up, like, I want to be fearless.
Fearless. You want
But
to be
that's
fearless.
like, I feel kind of like defeated about that because, I'm doing fear work and I'm meant to be accepting my fear. I'm not really there. Yeah, a part of me still wants to be fearless. Yeah, and I feel really sad about that. I'm like, oh, never gonna get there.
I hear that. And the
I
distinction,
have a story. Yeah.
the distinction is maybe that you want to be not emotional fearful. The
Yeah.
emotion fear is that freezing. So that's the next. So we need, in space holding, you need access to all your resources. What are your resources? Your physical body, obviously, but you also have these resources that are your feelings: anger, fear, sadness, joy. You need all of those to hold space. So anger for clarity, for boundaries, for being clear, what is this about? Then you need the fear to come forward, to not know where exactly it's going to go, because if you know, you're controlling the space, you're making it tight. Like the fear can help to really create something new that you haven't, where you haven't been yet, and then you can take the whole space with you there. So, and if you can't handle your fear, because fear is so scary, you can learn to consciously access your fear and use it as a resource. And it's a journey, just like learning to train your anger and being in your power and having this resource accessible. It's a journey with fear to really be free from these your old stories about fear. And then that gives you access to these spaces that you don't even know yet that they exist or how they go. So you can really stand at that edge of your comfort zone and look into the unknown and go there. Like, we're going there. And that's where we are. We are in the unknown together right now. And it's scary because there might be judgment. There might be unfulfilled expectations. There might be whatever, but I don't care, because I want to explore with you how this goes so that it lands with you. And so that's like this fear. When I'm not consciously relating to fear, then I might want to fall back and just fall asleep. So that's the invitation. Stay forward and let the fear run through you without freezing, without having to control what happens to you in this space. So that's the invitation. And it's a training. I'm not expecting anyone to do that already. It's like, hey, decades and decades, you've learned something different about fear. You've learned that it's to be avoided, probably. You've not seen how it's applied. So that's, yeah, and I can already see some excitement. It is exciting. It's magical. It's the realm of magic. And then the sadness is really this quality to connect, to stay connected to each person in the space. So it's a small amount of sadness. And to stay connected with yourself, like, what's really going on inside me? What do I really care about right now? What is it that my longing is telling? Like, what am I longing for? What's missing? That's the sadness quality. And the joy has this excitement of, whoa, we could really go out of here. Each one of us turn totally on about your space holding. Our space holding. It's like, wow, I can, because there's this old map of space holding where, oh my God, I have to do it. If I don't do it, no one else will do it. And it's this responsible victim story about space holding, or this burdensome thing. You take responsibility for a space. It's a heavy, hard thing. Better don't do that. Or if you do it, then you're in power. So great, you want it, so you have power over. It's also not really beneficial if you want to create something sustainable, regenerative. So that joy of creating and maybe co-creating, of me radically relying on the fact that each one of you has value in this space. And you might have a piece of the puzzle. You might have something that really needs to be in the space. So holding space for that, and this joy of finding out stuff that I didn't know about, like that is what turns me on in space holding. Finding out new stuff. And again, like if I round these 4 feelings up, what I come back to is the container quality resource is the anger. If I'm not clear, then there's this wobbliness at the edges of the space, and that, yeah, or if I'm mixing my anger with the sadness, it gets heavy and sad and slurry and yeah. So that's one resource, is your feelings. Another resource that you have is bright principles that work through you. Like calling, you can radically rely on something greater than yourself to work through you. So basically, this holding space can be quite misleading, I find, because what do you do when you hold something? Can you show with your hands? What do you do when you hold something? Yeah, this or this or this. Now, it can easily be a gripping on. It's like, oh, I need to hold it so it doesn't fall. I've got to hold it well. Yeah. The holding space is more like it's more like this breathing, having attention on it, having attention on the space without grabbing it, so being clear, having a sword at hand to make the corners clear, so that it's a safe space to really travel in. And it's not about holding it tight so that nothing else can happen than what my mind has said should happen. So there's this difference between a breathing space that has consciousness of purpose. That's the holding. That's what I mean with the holding. So it's not about grabbing it tight and holding it tight. It's more this nurturing quality of holding. Anything to ask around?
Yeah, I have an impulse coming up. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I have this fear of, if I hold space for any kind of space that's from next culture, like the map of 4 feelings or emotional body discoveries, I always have this fear of landing in the space with my fear, because somehow I have this idea that that people expect to, as Aurora said, I think we all have this, or at least some people have this, to be free from our fear. And if I say that I'm afraid to be here, but I'm coming from the new map, I have fear that people will not trust me if I say that, because what they're looking for is to be free, or their fear, and to just be confident or whatever. So I guess my question is, this is a question. Okay, it's not a question, it's just a noticing I have, I guess. I'm afraid to share my fear in spaces where people are still in the old map of fear, because then they cannot trust me.
Yeah, cool.
I guess I'm asking for possibilities.
Yeah. So that is great, that your fear has some valuable information for you there, because I think it's really appropriate and accurate. Like if you start a like a space where you say, hey, I feel fear of holding space, you are not making the space, like you're not serving the space with it. There's 2 phases to feelings work. One is to notice and express your feeling. So that's what you would be doing. It's like saying, I'm scared. So you're expressing it. That's phase 1 of feelings work. And it's important. It's necessary to be able to go to phase 2. Is you need a solid foundation, or a good foundation of the phase 1 of, this is what I feel actually, because we're so numb to it that, first, so great, that's great. And then, but if you're holding space, you want to go to phase 2 of the feelings work, where you apply it. rather than talking about it, you use it for the space holding. So you use it to lean into it, for example, and you go, okay, so you internally you notice, okay, I feel fear, but you don't say it. You use it to let the impulse rise. So you don't even have to go out to the fear. You let the impulse from the fear rise. The fear has information for you. It might tell you, wow, people are falling asleep. And then, oh, I need a bit more anger. Okay, need more anger, and you activate your anger. Or it's like, oh, I need an exercise or an experiment, or I need something so that people are more engaged. So you use the fear like this antenna that goes out and gets the information for you, or lets the information come to you rather. It's like switching on the fear, and then it's like a receptor antenna that receives information.
I found it useful in like the fear wall process that I did actually to at least start having the conversation in my head, like, and not necessarily saying it out loud, but that like my fear wants me to reveal to you that kind of thing. So sometimes I might say that out loud, but other times it might just be an internal conversation, and I think that already helps me go to like, what is the next step? Like, what is my fear actually telling me about this space? Why am I afraid of this space? What is happening here that I'm sensing from the people?
Yeah.
Like my fear wants me to, reveal that, like, that there was boredom in this space. So, and then, you brought the anger practice. So I wouldn't necessarily say that out loud, but I saw you doing it. You brought the anger practice. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's
This helps a lot.
Yeah, that's high level fun to find these things out. Yeah, Sasha.
So I'm curious, and when we did the anger thing, after that I felt really tired, and I was also having, what came up for me through the anger was clarity and ease. That's what I'm going for. And then when I sat back down, it was really hard to be present. I mean, it was not hard. I was present, and I was very present with my own body doing the, oh gosh, I would like to be in the ocean right now. I don't want to be here. This is in my head. It's still very, this is an exploration, and I am welcoming whatever is coming. And I wanted to get away. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very fascinating. And I didn't, I'm still playing with the idea of saying, well, I want to go to the ocean actually, while the dinner is cooking in the oven. I'm going to go into the ocean. That's what I want to do right now. I would like to honor that, because I created a space for myself at the beginning of this session. And that's what my space is asking for right now. It's interesting. Yeah. And I want to say yes, because why would I keep giving my space to you guys on the screen when actually I want to, so, and then there's that commitment. Then there's the, oh yeah, but you said that you were going to be in this.
Okay, I've got a tool for you.
Stories.
Oh, great. That's great, because that's the next piece. And that is wherever that takes you. But have you heard of the Voice Blaster? It's a great tool to have for space holding. Have you heard of the Voice Blaster, Sasha?
Yeah, it sounds familiar. but
So
I haven't worked with it.
there's these external parent voices. So they might not have been our parents, but maybe teachers or some other authority figures from childhood. And they tell us this, you have this impulse. Hey, I want to go to the ocean. Hey, I really need to go now to the ocean. And then there's this parental voice says, no, but you've committed to this. You have to stay here. Or, what will the others think of you? You shouldn't disappoint people. So these voices are not beneficial for an adult person. It made sense as a child to follow these, maybe because then you were safe and you could survive in this environment. And now you've grown out of that, or you're in an adult body, you might as well shoot those voices. And so you have this energetic tool is on your tool belt here, if you're right-handed or on the left side. And you can pull that and you shoot. The voice comes, it's like, oh, I should know what to do, or I shouldn't go to the ocean. I should follow through with my commitment. So you take that voice blast and you go, but you need to make that sound, yeah? Whatever it is, like, try it out. Let's all do that. We all have voices. Yeah, we all have those voices that tell us should. So take one should voice and say out what the voice is. So, oh, I shouldn't disappoint people.
Oh, I shouldn't have turned off my fucking video.
Yes. Go.
I should have had dinner.
Elena, Vanessa, pick one. And if you have this, I shouldn't be doing this, it's ridiculous, and shoot that one.
Should already be a good facilitator.
I should know how this goes.
I shouldn't keep doing those things.
Yeah.
I should know my feelings better.
Yes.
I should listen to Julia.
Yes. No. Exactly that. Those voices. Millie, did you find one to shoot? Great. Okay, so some voices come back several times. They're really persistent, so shoot them as often as you need. In this space, I'm welcoming you to just shoot. And you can, you're space holders. You can do that in any space. Depends on how radical you want to be with this reclaiming your life thing. But I think going forward, we'll see more people in the streets shooting voices. So you'll be totally normal. You'll blend in perfectly. You're just the ones going first. Yeah. So Sasha, as this is a holding space work talk, I'm really inviting you to check what is that which you're holding space for yourself, and then choose from your from that purpose of what serves you, like what serves your being best. And if that's the ocean, let us know and go.
Yeah. Thank you.
So from that place, I think that's a great launching pad to, I want to do breakout rooms, and you'll be in pairs, and one each will hold space for that which they want now. Like you said a few things that you want. So you'll hold space, for example, I'm not going to give you my center, and then you can make a proposal and you keep your center, for example. Or Ragi, if you want to hold space for dangerous questions, you're going to ask the person a dangerous question. Or you want to hold space for the new map of feelings, okay. Or you want to hold space for whatever you choose. It's simply, you have 5 minutes and you hold space for the space of the two of you in those 5 minutes. And then you swap. And then we come back together, and then we'll have a feedback round in here.
5 minutes each.
5 minutes each, yes. Any questions? And I'm going to jump around and have a look and come visit.
Yeah, maybe I have a stupid question.
Okay, go.
Oh, this is about someone. So we take turns talking about what we want.
Yeah, and I'm going to give one more distinction for that. Thank you. Which is, holding space happens in the small here and the small now. When I say that, I mean right now, right now, right now, right now. So it's you could make the now 5 minutes. It's like, okay, I've got to hold space now for 5 minutes. And okay, what am I going to talk about in these 5 minutes? And I'm inviting you to stay present with your center, your grounding cord, your bubble of space, and create from this very moment. Okay, I'm holding space for this dangerous question. I'm going to ask you a dangerous question, Sasha. Are you ready? And then the other person says yes or no. And then you go and apply it in this very moment. So it's not from the head, it's right here, right now. You're creating it with your, so the only thing really that you need is your purpose. What is the purpose of your space holding? So you centered, grounded, bubbled, and you start with your purpose. What is your purpose for right now? Does that clarify anything?
Yeah, it clarifies for me that I need to go into the ocean now and say thank you very much for being in this space with me, and for me to explore. But yeah, my head is just I'm just not. It's like I'm already there.
You're already there.
I'm already in the waves, so I need to go.
Okay, send me a photo, please.
I will. I will.
Thank
I will.
Go,
Thank you.
Sasha.
Go.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, don't forget that. Okay, cool. That leaves 6, which means I come in a breakout room with you. Any other questions? Okay, so this is an exploration space. There's no right, there's no wrong. Have fun, like really. Go to the edge of your comfort zone and discover the aliveness that's possible right there. Okay, have fun. Hello.
Hello. Great.
Okay, I'm just gonna write. You want to go first?
Yes. Yes. I would like to use the space and hold space for me, for expressing more my feelings in the now and getting access to it and giving it a voice.
Oh.
And I have no clue how it could look like.
Go, you start.
And while saying it, I feel like, oh my God, there's like my throat is getting tighter. My heart is beating faster. I get kind of a sweatness feeling around. A cold shiver. And I just realized, oh my God, I see you and I want to connect and I want to still be in my center and feel everything what's there in me, but still being connected. And I feel like I don't know how to do that. My head is telling me stories that I don't know how to keep my center. And right now there's joy also. Woo, yeah. It works. It feels like alive, like I feel aliveness. Yes. And it's like not a cold shower anymore now. It's like a tingling coming up. So yeah.
What's the feeling? If you can say, I feel, what is the feeling?
I feel fear.
Mm-hmm. Let it be here.
Fear of being seen in my rawness and what's there and being really listened to, like being just what I am, maybe the chaotic me, the not knowing me, and still being here and being ready that people can see me, that you see me right now. It's just, there's like, whoo. But there's also like, right now I feel like, wow, there's warmth coming up for you. Yeah. Did you give me that space? Also warmth of that I allow myself.
What's that feeling? The warm feeling. What is it? You say, I feel, and just see what it is.
I feel joy.
Yeah, let that be here. You wanted space for it. Go.
Yeah. Joy for this exploration and like for exploring my like this room, like this space, new spaces for society. And I mean, I see this potential for everyone, you know, and this gives me wow excitement, and I want to like I want to express, you know, I want everybody to be able to express this rawness of feelings. It's just real. We need realness, realness, and and I feel my center right now, you know, and it's good, you know, it's good. Yeah.
What's the feeling when you feel your center? I feel
actually a little bit of this feeling, which I just started to explore, this rage. A little bit, but not too much, you know. It's just something which I really so like this. It's so interesting to give it a new value in my life. To be present right now. Yeah. Yes. And even I don't know maybe what feels like, and the different levels of fear. I'm curious, and I feel it right now already coming up, and I feel like it's really this, what you explained before. I can explore from that. And this is so new. It's so new for me. Well, like, wow. I don't know where this goes, but yeah, great. But I don't know. I am not the timekeeping right now.
So it's time to step. It's time to stop. Yes. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Feel a lot of
what
joy.
Would you like?
Yeah. I noticed how. As I was listening to you, my center went into the future, trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to hold space for? And I brought it straight back. So I'm holding space for keeping my center and exploring with you how that goes. So I'm going to take you on this keeping center journey with me. So let's stand up and please like take your physical hand and put it, these two fingers underneath your belly button and and press in a bit, like so that you have this physical sensation of where it is. Don't hurt yourself, but it's this. Okay, and as you leave your hand there, it's like try out the physical center, how it moves. Like how can it move without you falling over? And loosen your neck. It's like, okay. Loosen your neck, move your shoulders, and stay connected through your hand with your physical center. And then bringing really this awareness there, as your hand is there, bringing this awareness there and how it can move. And I'm not losing this is amazing. I feel joy. It's like I move my hips and I'm not falling over. So let's take one hand and one foot off the floor and do that still, like move your hip and don't fall over.
That's good.
Yeah, so you're still, and so you need some attention there. You need your focus of attention there, part of it. Yeah. Okay, and then shift your foot and take the other one. See whether that changes anything. And notice how your mind might go somewhere else. So bring it back. No, it's right here, right now, right here, right now. I notice how mine does that. And do you have a book? You have a book, put that on your head.
Yes, I do.
And just, yeah, see whether you can take a few steps with this book. How does it go not to drop this book? And even if you go to your, like you make a knee bow, how do you know that? Like you bend your knees. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, staying so that that book stays there.
This is a great exercise.
Yeah. So that, and I wonder what else could be done with this. Is like, can you move non-linear, like in a way that you wouldn't with that book, but still keeping like, so maybe bowing down, like you're bowing to your own image of, like, there's a queen in front of you and you're bowing to her. This is you're bowing to yourself. And you're staying centered, so you keep, you stay also with your energetic center down there, so you're not actually going out there, you're staying here and you're still meeting that person, so yourself actually, and the book stays there. And how can you do that without tension in your neck? Like staying, wow, yeah, staying present in your body and sitting down with a book on your head.
Great. Oh, great.
I notice how quick it goes to, as soon as my system gets used to it, the mental body wants to go somewhere else, right? Did you notice that? So really bring it, not so much?
Not so much. For me, I was very much in my body. But the only question which arose was, how can I still be connected to you? Should there be more? This was should.
Yeah, should there be more? It's a great question, because there's actually, it's like, if I'm connected to myself and I don't shut off, I don't erect a wall, then I am connected to you. So there's, something to explore around that. When, I need to finish. I'm going to call the others, but that's something that's really interesting to talk about.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. See you in the main session.
Yeah. Just the two of us.
Yeah, they still have a little bit of time. Missing 2. Lily and Bragi. Looks like they're having fun.
There was still 30 seconds left. When we left.
What do you bring back from your research? Did you notice anything, what worked and what didn't work? Where, How did that go?
I felt like the two spaces that me and Rigu held were really different, and it was really fun. And his one was about like rapid fire possibilities. Boom, 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 give me stuff. And mine, I just wanted to walk up my spine slowly. And I walked up my spine slowly, explained it to Rigu, and I think he walked up his as well, maybe.
Cool. So it looks like when you held space, Millie, or I don't know whether others have had the same experience as this, how do you hold space for yourself? And at the same time, you're inviting the other, like you're holding space for the two of you so that the other can come with you. So often it's just a small step to saying, okay, I'm going to try this. Will you join me? And then you're creating a space for both of you to go together. And then you're making it bigger than just yourself or the other witnesses. You're inviting, you're making a proposal into the space. And you're asking the question. Cool, thank you for bringing that up.
What I want to share something also is on my space holding with Millie. What I'm noticing is that it's more energy to hold space for someone else when they're not in the same energetic space as you. So as Millie was saying, we like quick fired possibilities, back, and the amount of high level fun is even more when two people are in the same state of mind. And I did this experiment yesterday with strangers to ask for possibilities for the same thing, the same dream I have. And it was more energy to keep them in the state of just possibilities, because when they would like fire one possibility, they would directly go into the obstacles. Oh yeah, but if you do this, no, and the energy gets low. So I have to hold space for like, okay, but let's stay in the just ping pong ideas. So I notice a difference in my space holding when the other person is like in the same, I don't know what to call it, state of mind, or the same. So so yeah, I guess the noticing is when it's teamwork and we're both coming from the same place and the same right principles, the energy is more into the space than into keeping people awake, I would say.
Thank you.
And I feel joy about it.
Yeah, so Ragi, what you could try is you set the context beforehand. So be clear about the context beforehand, where you say, okay, let's do this experiment. We're going to shoot possibilities. And if you find obstacles, just leave them aside, something like that. This is not about an obstacle finding. This is about possibility finding. I don't care about the obstacles. I don't want to hear them. So you pull your sword and you make the space clear by setting a context at the beginning. So that's part of space holding, is to set the context. What is the purpose of this space? What are we going to do here? Yeah.
So something comes up for me of when I do that, like when I do take out my sword and I be clear, I sense a lot of I don't know, like hate, or because people somehow, part of them wants to be in the obstacles and they think it's realistic, and maybe it's just
people
crazy.
want to be in the obstacles and they think that's realistic.
Yeah.
So that could open up a space into another direction of curiosity of, wow, I mean, what happened to you that you really think it's real, that you have to dwell in obstacles, that you have to find why something doesn't work when you could be finding how something does work. You know, there's obviously gremlin, there's unconscious or negating forces, and you can also put your sword energetically on that, but that's already a bit more skilled space holding, I would say. And there's a lot to space holding, and like what is the next step that you could do there? And I get the sense that, yeah, you could meet them there if you're willing to like, what's the purpose of the space? Is the purpose of the space that you get possibilities, then navigate to just getting possibilities? Or is the space also that you want to create connection with them and you want to meet them where they're at? Then it might be that you need to ask them those dangerous questions that you were talking about. A dangerous question is a form of space holding, in that you open up a space for them. In answering, a new space opens up for them. So it's an honestly curious question about, in that case, about, wow, what is your reality? If you say obstacles are real, what is the reality that you live in? And how have you learned to crush your dreams? How did that go in your life? So you can be honestly curious about that. And that is the navigating space. Yeah, go, Aurora.
I would say that like another thing to look at in that situation is that like you asked for a possibility, which is an activating force. They've come in with a restraining force. And so being with them, and then there's a third thing that comes out is a reconciling force. So to pay attention to what they value in what they're saying, like Julia said, like getting close to, what, just because you've provided a possibility, there's always going to be a restraining force. And so like, and it's not a thing to block. It's like a creative entity to be like, what are you valuing here that is that I have not seen yet?
Mm-hmm. And that is as being a yes and. So you don't let them stop your space. So you take that, and it's what I see from your description, or as well as this, so that it doesn't go this way. It doesn't go from your side this way, but it can go this,
yeah.
Being a yes and.
Thank you. Yes, this helps.
Anything else that you found out or created that you want to share?
I think one thing that I'm always sensing into in my facilitation, it is actually fear, like working at the edge of fear. And we were actually exploring fear with our fear about, space holding, what we fear. And I'm kind of navigating to the edge of this space of awareness where it's like I have this overwhelming idea of like where I want this person to go, but actually like my fear is telling me like I need to stay with them and check in, like is it actually where they want to go or am I just sort of taking over the space? And so how to hold that edge lightly, and that's always where the fear is just there going like, oh, am I allowed there, or is there somewhere else we need to go together right now to co-create this meeting of beings,
Yeah, that is, I think that's really it's like this also two forces really. Is this, I want to go there and I want to take them there. That's what I hear from you, Aurora. But there's only, we call this matrix, right? They can only go where they can go. They might not be able to go where you want them to go. So how do you create the space so that it still is nourishing you and you can meet them where they are? Something like, yeah. So one thing I said, you could decide that you have everything that you need. So you don't need them to go anywhere. And then you can be on this discovery journey with them. You're more on their side than that you're pulling them anywhere.
Mhm. Can you say that last bit again? Sorry.
Yeah, so that you decide that you have everything you need. Even before you open up the space, you decide, I have everything I need. I don't need you guys to go anywhere here. We go where we go. And so I'm not determined by an outcome or where you need to end up with me. So that could be an experiment to bring that into your own awareness, to decide we go where we go. I have a purpose, and it doesn't mean to adapt to their boxes or gremlins. I think that's the distinction is, people also have it, like, to still make it dangerous for them, dangerous enough so that something can transform. And at the same time, you can't carry people across, like if we talk about doorways, you open up doors, you create possibility for them to go through, but then they need to go through. You cannot make them go through. So if you have enough, then you don't have to have them go through that. You can be okay with them standing at the door. At least they found a new door. It's like, whoa, how amazing is that? You can be turned on by that.
If I have enough, what?
If you have enough, yeah, you have enough.
I have enough what?
You don't need anything, is what I said.
Oh, okay.
You don't need anything. You don't need a result. You don't need a specific result.
Right.
You can be on this discovery journey with them. And you make it interesting for yourself by going to the edge of your own comfort zone without pushing them or having them to be anywhere specific. Get anywhere. How does that land in you? It doesn't seem to quite land.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little distracted because someone's trying to come in. No, it's not my house, but yeah. Also, at the same time, I feel like there's two things here for me. One is like being aware when I'm taking over the space too much, because sometimes I might forget. Yeah, and then another question that's like not as clear, like yeah, something around like all the other aspects that sort of show up in the space, like maybe gremlin and escaping, and and how to navigate all the information that's coming in to find like the best.
Okay, so that's a shadow purpose, right? That you could create the perfect space, the best space. I think what you said. It's great. Like being aware of that. That's what you'd like to. It doesn't serve the space because then it becomes rigid, or it makes you believe that there's only one best way. So you can make it more fun for yourself by having your gremlin on the leash and giving your gremlin other tasks. So gremlin is the king or queen of the underworld, for those of you that haven't heard of it so much. So it's this unconscious part of us that tries to avoid responsibility. And it serves shadow purposes like manipulation, control, being right, superior, inferior, perfectionism. And you can learn to relate to it so that part can also be initiated so that it can serve you. It can serve your space holding, because that part actually finds these amazing new spaces that are fun, high-level fun, entertaining, non-linear. It can do the crazy stuff that your box would freak out about. The gremlin can go there. And if your gremlin doesn't have a conscious job, then it might try to make this other unconscious stuff like, okay, I'm going to get this perfect now. I'm going to get this. I'm going to be right about this thing that I'm saying and all that stuff. So And it can also have this job of sniffing where are other people's gremlins active and how to navigate that. And that takes training as well, because that can easily get into this gremlin fight thing. And so you want to be learning how to elegantly also maybe not confronting it and just not engaging with the gremlins. Yeah, great research, Edge.
Yeah, I would like to share my experience. And there was, first of all, a big aha moment when you started now bringing up the group together and saying, okay, it's very important that we invite someone in. And then I was like, oh my God, I didn't invite you when I started, you know, I was just saying, okay, this is what I want from this space. And I just continued doing it now. And this is also when I reflect now in the, let's say, past months, where I try to explore my space, like holding my space in connection to another person. It's just like this little, how can I explain? Really finding the right between being with me and being with the other. And it just feels like such a big learning, and I feel a bit overwhelmed right now. And actually the question arises, just if you like, would you give me a short feedback? How did you feel when I didn't ask you in?
Yeah, I'm glad you're asking, because I was like, oh, actually, you said what you wanted and it was clear what you were going to do. So I really enjoyed being there, witnessing. Okay. It wasn't about let's do this together. It was like, I want this space. So you were holding space for yourself and I was witnessing. So you could make it clear in that case to say, hey, I want to do this. I'm going to do this. Will you witness and give me feedback and coaching or whatever you want? So then you're still holding the space and you're clear about what, like, even clearer about what you want from the other person in the space. And yeah, for me, it worked. So thanks for asking, instead of making up the story that you weren't good enough or something like that.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, doesn't seem to be the case. So yeah, there's, I want to give you another tool about, so as we're speaking about energetic space holding, I said there's these resources, and feelings are energy and information. So we really need them as a resource for space holding. Then bright principles, like this, what you're here for, you can call that in, or you can call bright principles in that you want in the space because they would serve. I called in empowerment or possibility, clarity, love. And as you set yourself up to hold space, and let's do that together now. So you've centered, you've grounded, you've got your bubble of space, and if you haven't got it, do it again right now for yourself. And raise a bit of anger so you can stay present with us here. You don't have to go off into another space. And then there's a way of creating the workspace. That's the next thing. So when you're holding space, and well, let's do that together. So creating this space for all 6 of us to be in together. You can make this 8-pointed cube around us. So you click, imagine in your inner eyes what that would look like. It's pretty much probably goes all around the world, because we've got, I don't even know where you are, Elena. Where are you located? Are you in Germany?
Germany.
So we've got Germany, we've got New Zealand, we've got Australia, we've got Portugal. And so you might want to make a cube all around the world. Okay, so you click those four points in this one side of the cube, you declare them. And then the other 4. Whoa, and that is like a golden cube for our space together. And for that, you click a grounding cord at the bottom of it, in the middle, in the center of it. You click a grounding cord that's 20 to 30 centimeters wide. So it's quite, yeah, like that maybe. So you click that and it goes to the center of the earth. So that space is connected to the earth. And then call in bright principles. So values that support that either you have chosen already or that support this space. So call them in and speak them out loud.
Courage,
Truth.
authenticity,
Connection.
Clarity.
transformation,
Strength.
Say that again, Raggy.
Possibility.
Creativity.
Connection.
faithfulness,
Adventure.
Connection.
love,
Discovery.
Was that discovery, Millie?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Growth.
Understanding.
Authority. Inner authority.
Empathy.
Beauty.
Collaboration.
And notice with all your 5 bodies, your physical, your emotional, your energetic, your intellectual, and your archetypal body, not necessarily knowing what it is, but notice with all that you are, the space, how it's shifted. Do you notice a change? Vanessa, you nodded. What do you notice?
Yeah, I noticed the change. I feel like it is more clarity, like maybe feeling like more on task, like less feelings of other things coming in, just the principles that we put out there.
Mm.
Now I notice like a warmth over my skin.
And I noticed those bright principles really in the space now. I noticed the collaboration is happening. I noticed the connection with you all. Like, energetically, it's like boom, boom, it's there.
I noticed also that without declaring bright principle in the space, I'm kind of unconsciously a victim of whatever unconscious principles are here in the physical space I'm in.
Yeah. So you can do that anytime in any space that you are, whether you're the main space holder or not. You can create that space and you can call in bright principles that serve the space. You don't have to wait for someone to invite you to do that. Like you can even shift into this identity of space holder, that you are a space holder for the space, not because you need to overpower someone. That's not the purpose. It's because you care about the spaces that you go into. Like, why would you ever not want to be holding space for what you care about? It's a bit what we saw Sasha do. She's like, okay, she's holding space for herself. She's now gone to the beach, holding space for herself. Or what you've done by saying what you want in the space. So this is how it goes. And And if someone can't handle it as a main space holder, so what? Whose problem is it? It gives you good information about the context of that space. Is it a power over game, or is it a eye level game? Is it co-creation, or is it control? So I'm inviting you to really also like develop a sniffer for the purpose of the space. If you're not in the space that you create, but even if you're in your own creation space and something doesn't work, you could sniff like, okay, what is this space actually serving right now? There's control element. I'm trying to push someone. I've noticed that in myself. Like when I'm trying to push someone into doing something because I think it's beneficial for them and I think that's their next step, then I'm in this control mode, and the space goes really. So I'm serving not the bright principle of empowerment. I'm serving the bright principle, the shadow principle of control, or power over, or whatever. One of those. So as holding space is so essential connected with the purpose, yeah, really make this your own. What is the purpose of the space? What is the purpose of the space? What is the purpose of the space that I create? What is my purpose now?
I have a question. What happens if I invite this bright values in the space and I see I cannot hold it, or it's not realizing? And I feel like actually to hold space for me, it means like maybe stepping out in that moment. Like, because I cannot create and the other person cannot create it. And I realize for being in my space and I have to draw back. What should I do? I mean, because I feel like this kind of, wow, this is a big responsibility. And I learned so long in my life to be numb and maybe to not being completely responsible. So that I think in the time of training and getting there are probably moments where I realize I'm in a space where I cannot create this clarity, or I cannot take out the control. So I have to pull back because there's control. I don't want to be in control. So what I'm doing, like, do you understand my question?
I think I do. And it seems like you see one option at the moment. You see one possibility. It's like one is, okay, this is not working, so I have to go. And that makes sense because, I don't know, like if you were in school and it didn't work for you and you acted in a way that it didn't work for the teacher, then you would have been sent out of class. I'm not sure that happened to you, but that's what you will have witnessed. Okay, if this space doesn't work for me, I have to go. If I don't want to play what the others want to play, I have to go. With peer children, it's often that case. There's a lot of pressure to play what everybody wants to play. So another option would be to keep holding space for yourself and bring what you did in our breakout session, is to say, wow, I feel sad that what I want, which is, connection, is not happening in the space, and I feel scared because I actually don't know how to do this. So you could be radically honest about what is happening for you, and thereby you holding space for yourself, and at the same time you're giving really valuable information into the space so that the next can emerge. It's like an emergence becomes possible.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, that brings me to this thing that actually what we're like, this holding space is actually about holding emerging spaces. Said it earlier, it's not like there's a set curriculum or something. It's not like I do this and that and that and that, and then I have like the space is dead if I'm not connected to what is here right now. I'm trying to push through with an agenda because I think in my head it should be this way. And that again brings me back. You need your fear for that. You need your anger for that, your joy and your sadness. And then the space can emerge from your resources, from the resources in the space, from you as the main space holder. You're holding space, yeah, and navigating space. It's a skill to learn how to navigate the space, and then it can emerge. Like the space that serves can emerge.
I feel like there's always just so much happening, you know? Like there's already so many possibilities when it's one-on-one. Yeah, there's just so much information like coming to me when I'm holding space for a group, and yeah, I'm not really sure, like it probably just takes practice, but I have this uncertainty about like, well, how do I choose a particular path or know what's next from all the information?
So how do you choose?
Whilst navigating my own internal landscape as well, and trying to be friends with my gremlin and be centered and all the things.
How do you choose, Aurora? What's your experience?
I guess just with my anger, I just kind of go, this thing, this is like what's up front or the gateway. Yeah.
So there's this, it came up earlier already, but there's this thing of actually as you connect with yourself, you're connecting to the bright principles of the space, and you created the space with those 8 points and a grounding cord and calling in the bright principles. So you connected to yourself with your centered and grounding cord and your bubble, and to the space because you've created it. Then there's a connection, and you know, the more you're in your really authentic self and not determined by your belief systems, by your box, by your egos, then you get really accurate information of the next. So you might feel, again, like we said that earlier, like you might feel sadness, something's missing. And then you can use that information because it's in your system. It's like your system is actually the calibrator or the information gatherer. So being connected to yourself is so important, because if you're not there for the space holding and you're not there with yourself, then the whole thing doesn't fly. So it's not actually about being out there in the space. It's being here and letting the space come through you, staying connected to it. And the space is actually, it's a moving thing. It's the saying that every space is connected to every space, so you can shift spaces, and you shift it with all your resources of going from, we've been, like right now I can sense there's like this tendency of getting stuck here. We could get stuck here. This is a space. Okay, possibly we could get stuck here. Okay, lean into that. I feel fear. I feel some joy, actually. I feel joy of the awareness of that. And that it makes it so tangible, and I don't have to pretend that I've got it sorted. I can be here with you. I can be in that stuckness as well for a moment. And like there's also a curiosity or the joy that pulls me into this. Wow, we still have like 12 minutes. There's more we could explore together. Like what would turn the space on? What would turn me on now? So I'm using my own experience to navigate. So I have something. So we're going to go into breakout rooms again, and then start. So one person starts, and you start by really clicking and center, grounded, have your bubble of space, and you click this cube around the two of you in this virtual space. and you call in 3 bright principles, 3 values. And then notice what comes up for you, which feelings, and what is the information you get about the space, what's necessary in the space, and say a few things about that. And the other one simply listens, and we'll do that shortly. It's like 2 minutes each. And then you receive feedback on what changed what was the quality of the space? What did they notice? How connected did they feel to the space with you holding it that way? Any questions?
I think I'm not 100% clear on the task. So we are switching, but first we are inviting.
Mm-hmm. So each person has a go. So first person starts and centered, grounded, bubbled, clicking those 8 corners, this cube, a golden cube, clicking declaring a grounding chord for that space of the 2 of you. And then you as the main space holder, you call in bright principles into the space. 3, let's say 3. So it doesn't become this long, lengthy thing. And then just be with that for a moment and feel the space. Feel the quality of it. How does it change? You use your whole system to be with the space for that moment. And there might be feelings coming up. So speak them. Say, I feel. Just say that. And maybe you can go to the next level of like, okay, with this, I want to, like, what do you want to do with this feeling? What information are you going to take and do? So explore starting from yourself without having to give the other one anything. Like you serving the space and you let it come through you. And then we swap. So it's 2 minutes each. It's a short experience. So as you enter the room, you say straight away, one person raises their hand and says, I start, and then you go ahead and start. So it's not a lengthy finding thing. I'm going to recreate the room. So there's a bit of a difference.
And we speak it out loud, right? Just last question.
Yes, speak it out, and then and then we come back and then we give each other. There's also time for feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Millie.
Hi, Julia. Okay. Creation, design, connection. I feel kind of, I'm like wooden.
What's that feeling?
I feel it's fear. And there's joy there as well.
What do you want to do with those? Is there anything you want to create with those? Or maybe it's changed, whatever's there now.
I don't really know how to create it, but I feel like it's like a fun thing because it can be anything.
Guys, it sounds like you're ready to play. And it's time to swap over.
Okay.
So love, discovery, joy of life. Sense of joy. I feel joy and some fear. The joy is this bubbling, slightly bubbling joy, and I would love to create an experiment with you of discovery. Discovery. What is it? There's the fear. Okay. It's similar to what we've done before, and I want to try that in this space. So, oh God, I feel a lot of fear now. Enjoy. So silence, and I say a word in my head, and you check whether it arrives, and you say the word that arrives for you. Okay, I'm saying a word.
Magenta.
Whoa, it's really close. I said magic. Oh, that's cool. One more quick one.
Flower or something.
Play. I wonder how that relates. Thank you. Okay, see you in the other space. You look like you had fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Actually, we invited joy.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, we invited joy and love.
In love,
Yes.
and it worked.
Yeah.
yes, it is. Yes. It's actually like amazing how it works. That it really works somehow. Like it's new for me to be in this kind of energy of that. Yeah, you can invite those things just by naming it and calling it in. It's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Hello. Anything to share in the next 3 minutes? We have 3 minutes left.
Yeah. I wanted to share how awesome it was when we actually set that task and invited those 3 qualities in, those 3 principles, how it set the whole energy up. Yeah, because we had some love and some joy and some clarity and yeah, a few other things, but it was in connection, and that was really awesome to hold that and see how by setting that, it was there for us pretty much straight away.
It goes quick, eh? Cool.
Yes, I just completely have had the same feeling. So there was this connection. I just would like to add, because I invited calmness, and this is something I always sometimes miss in those connections. And it really helped me, and it was there. It was just there, and I always search for it, and it was amazing to realize that I can invite it in. Yeah.
Wow.
I was sort of curious, like I think we had quite an intense space and in such a short time, and like it's like there was this fear that came up in me, and it was like, I get this often, and I don't know if it's like what I'm reading in the space or if it's about my own story. And and I feel sort of embarrassed to say it, but it was just like asking Ragi about his purpose. But it was something around like this like sexual energy, I guess. Like I've been, hearing about the White Widow, and also like thinking about my own, and but it comes up often, and then I'm like, I don't know if it's like just my stories, because I have a lot of healing to do in that, and like how to use it in the space as well when something like that comes up. Part of me just wants to like not say it, it's like, oh, we'll just ignore that bit, but it's like, well, that's a whole other thing to explore.
Yeah, it could be interesting to check your accuracy, especially with Ragi. You contact him afterwards and check, hey, how accurate was that? I noticed that. I don't know, maybe you did that in the space, but to check how accurate it is, so that you get some feedback to start to discern what is yours and what is something that you pick up in the space.
Yeah, I guess I feel some fear about that, not necessarily with Ragi, but like with other people in my life, because it's like as soon as I name that, people become defensive, like, and how to ask it even when it's gentle. It's like, what is your purpose?
It's a really effective way of going that I have a story about you. I have, like, you make it about yourself, and then you ask them, how accurate is that? How does that land in you? So it's so clear that it's about you, and you're opening the conversation because you want to know how is it for them. So you're not in this blaming, or you're avoiding any of that. Thank you. I want to honor the time agreement and say just I'm going to post into the chat the next upcoming things in case you want to join any of those journeys. We're doing Rage Club online and Fear Club online. And Rage Club starts next week, Tuesday, and Elena is in. And I'm looking for other courageous beings that want to be part of that. And if it's not for you, pass it on. And my website, where you can also sign up for my newsletter. Thank you for exploring with me. I had a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see you in other spaces and experience your space holding. And if you have any questions, get in touch with me. If you need a follow-up or something, let me know.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you, everyone.